what is your take on Bill Gates?
It's an interesting question. I was thinking about him only in the context yesterday. We got a lot of funny responses about who's the worst guy to get choked out by. And a lot of people were like, if you get choked out by Bill Gates.
Well, that would be worse than Zuckerberg, to be fair.
I think it would be worse than Zuckerberg. Just
by the way, no
age.
shame in if Jeff Bezos chokes you out, current Jeff Bezos, no shame in that game.
Bezos can bench 600 pounds now based on the biceps he's got and the drugs that he's on. By the way, testosterone drugs. I don't know what else. I don't want to suddenly get into a battle of illegal resources with Jeff Bezos over drug use, or for that matter, bicep use. But I think I used to be a fan of Bill Gates in the context of I'm a fan of capitalism, and what he built at Microsoft was a very successful business. But I almost don't think of him now in any way as a capitalist. And now he sort of seems like a creepy old dude that's connected aggressively to COVID shots and the vaccination and everything else.
And Epstein.
Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah,
and Jeffrey Epstein. And his own wife left him based on some of the revelations. And the whole Epstein thing, I think, the only thing that makes any sense to me about the Jeffrey Epstein story, and there have been continuing revelations in the Wall Street Journal over the past few days about the relationships that Epstein kept after he had pled guilty to inappropriate relationships with underage girls, if I remember correctly, back in like 2008. He still had entree to a lot of very powerful people in all walks of life. One of them was Bill Gates, who he seemed to have a really good relationship with. The only thing that makes sense to me, Buck, is that Jeffrey Epstein was in some way an asset of the CIA, of the FBI, and that's why we've never really gotten a full disclosure of what went on there, how he got super wealthy, and all the relationships that he had.
It's kind of like Jack Nicholson in The Departed, when you find out at the end that Jack Nicholson is actually a federal informant. Remember that? That was one of the better revelations in that movie. I brought up Bill Gates. So yes, I think that the Gates Foundation is creepy and in some ways frightening. And the eat bugs thing. I mean, I could sit here and go into a lot of criticism over Bill Gates that I think he very much deserves. I think he can often he was certainly a malign force on vaccines. I am not pro Bill Gates.
Yes.
I thought this is interesting. Nuclear energy, though, if we do it right, and climate goals. Here, play this clip, play 11.
Why are you so committed to nuclear energy?
Well, nuclear energy, if we do it right, will help us solve our climate goals.
What do you say to the critics who say it's expensive? There are the safety and security issues, and then there's the issue of radioactive waste, which lasts thousands of years.
Yes, today's plants are way too expensive. The economic challenge, we just have to change. We've solved all the areas where there have been safety challenges, and we have dramatically less waste. But every one of those areas you mentioned, there are valid concerns.
Okay, so I bring this up, Clay, because I actually was in China a few years ago, doing on a business trip, and I spent some time. I remember on a riding around on a bus there with a guy who was a nuclear energy expert. And I was fascinated by this. Nuclear energy, if we were serious about all this stuff, if we're serious about CO2 emissions, if we're serious about climate change, is the answer. It is so clearly the answer that it actually terrifies these green groups and all the rest of it, because they don't really think that the world's going to melt from CO2. They want lots of control over your life. They want to do all the social engineering of who gets their energy from where, and how much climate impact are you allowed to have, and how do we send money around the world through a kind of global Marxism because of climate. Nuclear energy would, and they've completely destroyed the industry in this country largely because of fears that are unfounded. This is the fix, and the climate environment doesn't work, because you can't go around and have Greta yell at people and call them monsters if you fix the problem. The whole point is to have little imbecile Greta yelling at adults about how trillions of dollars of economic output should go.
I saw a great meme on this, and I do think nuclear energy is wildly underused. And 3 Mile Island and Chernobyl and all these other stories immediately come to people's minds because it has been created as this vastly more dangerous form of energy production than it is. but I saw a meme where it was like the feeling you have when your paper straw crumbles as you attempt to have your morning coffee, and you simultaneously see a story about a super rich celebrity on their private jet traveling for climate change related issues. I think what many people out there recognize and feel is that this entire Green New Deal concept is the biggest ball of baloney that any of us have had to deal with in our lives, and that all the things we're doing that supposedly make a big difference, like recycling, for instance, actually does nothing at all to help our planet.
Hey, everyone, just in case you don't know, recycling is a scam.